Hello there. My name is Jillaire Hall, and I'm the Skills Development Specialist for the Global Services Sector Project. Thank you for joining us for our second optimization session. If you have missed the first session held on Tuesday of this week, please feel free to visit our Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn page to watch that episode about restructuring or structuring a successful resume and preparing for an interview. By now, you would have known that the Global Services Sector Project, an initiative executed by JAMPRO, will be hosting its first virtual Global Talent Hub Fair on Thursday, June 24th. The countdown clock is ticking, and we have 7 days to go live. Have you registered for the fair as yet? Listen, you do not want to miss this. You do not want to miss out on the opportunity to learn about current and future opportunities in the global services sector. If you are looking for an opportunity, there are over 4,000 job vacancies to be filled in various fields, including finance and accounting, banking, insurance, legal, risk management, customer service, tech support, and many more. A bit surprised to hear opportunities exist in some of those. Feel free to tune in to the various industry discussions on the day and learn about the various elements of the global services sector. There's IT, process outsourcing, knowledge process outsourcing, shared services, legal process outsourcing, and more. I urge you to be in the know. Did I mention the gifts and gift you can win and will get when you participate in this fair? In addition to stepping into a new career at this fair, every registered participant will get access to iCreate Digital Awareness Certificate Program. This is a chance for you to learn about social media customer service, cybersecurity, email marketing, e-commerce, which is a major thing in Jamaica these days, and more. There will be opportunities to win digital credit so you can stay connected all day, win coffee from DefCan, local and international brands digital gift cards from Blink Sky, and other giveaways from all our exhibitors. I think by now you got the message and have completed your registration, right? Good. So why are we here today? We promise to support you on your journey to secure your career success. We've shown you how to structure your resume and how to prepare for an interview. So today, we will help you to stand out of the pack. We will share with you what recruiters are looking for in a candidate. Our guest presenter is Danica Matali, senior recruiter with over a decade of experience in recruiting. Do you know the phrase, hear it straight from the horse's mouth? Well, Vistaprint will be recruiting one of the most valued GSS firms in Western Jamaica. So here is your opportunity to know exactly what the expectations are for Vistaprint, as well as the sector on a whole. Danica is a result-driven HR professional with experience in talent acquisition and development. She has local and international experience in hiring for support, operations, creative, and technical roles, ranging from specialists to executive leaders. She is known for her strong collaborative and relationship building skills with a proven track record of delivering top quality talent. Danica is passionate about leveraging analytics and business process management to drive continuous improvement to the HR function. And it is that passion that brings her here today. Help me welcome Danica. Hi, Danica.
Hi, Jillaire. Thank you so much for having me today.
No problem. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Okay.
Okay, great. Over to you now.
Okay. So, hi everyone. As Jillaire mentioned, this opportunity is a great one. We are coming out of, or we're almost coming out of the pandemic, and I'm sure a lot of persons are, job hunting, and this opportunity is just an amazing opportunity. You can do it from the comfort of your home. Just register, get ready for the fair. and attend, and you can land a job. All right, so today I'm gonna share and a little bit about what recruiters look for in a candidate. Um, it really depends, to be honest. It depends on the job, it depends on the culture of the company, and many other factors. Um, what they look for, the type of role, and it comes down to all different factors. But some of the common things that recruiters will look for in a candidate for entry level role. So I know a lot of persons normally think that they have to be very experienced, or they have to come with something when they are applying for entry level roles. It shouldn't be the case. For entry level roles, and let me speak to, for example, an agent role or a customer service role, there are key things that you need to display in an interview. Key things such as great communication, whether it is verbal or, whether it is written. You need to be good at communication, especially for the agent role. You need to have a positive attitude, and you need to have patience. Positive attitude include, not speaking negatively about your past experience, but speaking about how you have learned from them. You want to have a growth mindset, and you also want to show that you're motivated. So, for example, you want to talk about where you see yourself with this company. It's not just a stepping stone or something that you're hoping to do for 6 months or a year. What are your plans to be with the company? What do you plan to achieve in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years? Also, what motivates you? Why do you get up every day and work? Also, what is motivating you to get to the goals that you have set for yourself? You also want to show that you're a great team player, and that you also know the company culture. Great team player meaning, you are going to help out if there is a need for you to help out when things aren't as great with maybe another team member. You want to also show that you know the company culture. You want to also show confidence and that you're good at decision making. You want to show that you are professional and that you are reliable. You want to also show that you have good language skills and spirit of expatriate. You also want to show that you have good digital skills and that you are passionate and motivated. Digital skills, just to talk a little bit about that. We are in the age now of everything being virtual. As we can see, we're having virtual job fairs. In the past, we would normally have a physical job fair. Now we're having a virtual job fair. We also most meetings or most interviews are now done virtually. So you want to make sure that you can do those things, like you can use a computer, and not just be able to type. You want to practice your typing speed, those kinds of things. Those things are measured in the interview. For managerial levels, no, that's a little different. You want to show that you have people management skills. Now, this one is, a big one. If you are a manager, it means that you're overseeing people. And what does that mean? Does it mean that you're a process leader where you come in and all you do is drive process, or are you a people manager? A lot of companies will look out for that, especially nowadays. A lot of companies are investing in their employees. They are investing in how their employees are treated and those that are above them. So you want to show your people management skills. You want to talk about it from the perspective of your experience. What is it that you have learned about managing people, in the jobs that you have done before. You also want to talk about what education you have pursued to help you to understand people behavior, and you want to just display that you are a people person. You also want to display your leadership skills. Um, People management skills and leadership skills are very similar. However, with leadership skills, it also entails the process, how you get persons to, how you get people to grow, and also how you get them to, be motivated and how to get the job done. As a leader, you also need to have good communication skills, good collaboration and teamwork skills, excellent time management, um, conflict resolution skills, regardless of what company you work in and regardless of how great the environment might be, you still need to have conflict resolution skills as a manager. You also need to have great coaching skills. Not all the times persons will be performing at their best for different reasons. It can be something happening personally. It can be something that's happening in the work environment. It can be that they don't know how to carry out the duties, and you as a manager need to be able to show these skills that you can, coach persons to get them to get the job done at the best of their ability, not just for the sake of the company, but also say at the sake of the employee. You want to ensure that they're growing. Project management and presentation skills. There, are many more. I am just mentioning a few, but these are some of the skills that you would need to have as a manager. If you are job hunting, what are some of the things that you need to do? First of all, you need to have an updated resume. As a recruiter, one of the worst things to see is a resume that has information, or it's clear that they have not updated the resume since 2000 or when they left high school, and they probably just, you can tell based on the experience that the resume is not updated, or even a poorly written resume. There are services online. If you yourself cannot, or you doubt your abilities in writing a great resume, which is completely fine. Not everybody will know how to sell themselves on paper. So if you can't compose a great resume, that's completely fine. You can look online for services. You can contract the service of a professional locally. You can also ask someone, maybe at your workplace or a family member, who can help you to put together, help you to think about the skills, help you to think about what experience you have and some of the things that you can mention. You want to also be deliberate in your search and the application process. So, what do I mean by be deliberate in your search? Use job boards. As the third point says, subscribe to job boards such as Caribbean Jobs, careerja.com. You want to actively be looking on those sites and other career sites or job boards to see what is out there. You also, not all companies will advertise their jobs on career boards, so you can also go to their website. And that is where being deliberate comes in. So if you want to work at Vistaprint, don't just go to Caribbean Jobs, go to Vistaprint. Go to Vistaprint's website, and if there is an option to subscribe to get job notifications, you can subscribe, and you check to see the jobs, check it periodically. You want to be deliberate in your application process. So there are quite a few times when, as a recruiter, I'll see a candidate that is just coming from high school with no experience, and they're applying for a managerial position. It's great to have that level of confidence, but you also need to be realistic. You're not, most likely you won't be called for that job, and what it will do is just waste your time to apply for a job. You're just gonna get another rejection if you're applying for something that's way out of your scope. No, I don't mean that you have to have all requirements at all times to be able to qualify for a job. For example, you can be a senior member. For example, myself, I could be a senior recruiter, and I might see a job that is a manager for TA, I can look at my duties, and if they match what the management duties are, somewhat match what the management position would be asking me to bring, then I can apply. But if I'm way out, then you know um, it doesn't make sense. So you want to be deliberate in your search. You want to know, one, what it is, what kind of job are you interested in, which companies you're interested in, and also what jobs you can apply for. As it states there, subscribe to job boards such as CaribbeanJobs.com, CareerJA.com. With Caribbean Jobs, you can create your account, you upload your resume. It is actually stored in a pool, and different recruiters can access your resume. So you want to make sure that it is updated at all times. And you can also subscribe to the kind of jobs that you would like to get. Um, Create a LinkedIn profile and connect with people. Now, a lot of persons might not know the power of having a LinkedIn profile, but it really is important if you are looking for a job. You want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is updated, that the profile is completed. It's great to have a professional photo there. And you connect with people from the different companies that you would want to work with, or persons that you would like to follow. There's a lot of different persons and a lot of different things that you can, lot of different subjects that you can follow on LinkedIn to learn about. So if you're an aspiring leader, you can follow different topics, different people, different persons, different pages that talk about leadership and how you can develop yourself. Ask to be referred. So a lot of companies have a referral program. Vistaprint has a referral program where employees here can refer, whether it's your friends or family. Um, there are quite a few times, as a recruiter, persons will reach out to me for different companies. They're interested in different companies, and I can refer them to a company. Referring doesn't mean that you are going to get the job, but it puts you one step closer to someone who is not being referred. What to do before the interview? So research the company. There is information that you can find online on just about any company. So you can go to you can go to Google and look up Vistaprint. What are employees saying about Vistaprint? Is Vistaprint a company that you would want to work for based on their culture, based on how they pay, based on the leadership? You also want to do a research on the history of the company. So when you are in the interview, you can talk about the company and you can show that you know the company. You also want to prepare questions to ask the interviewer. So if there's anything that you're not sure about, or you want to learn more about for the company, ask those questions. If you are interested as an in a customer service position, a question that you can ask to show your interest in the company is, what is the career path for agents? How do you move up in the company? How, what opportunities are there? Questions like that. Ask employees about the company. So if you're interested in Vistaprint or whichever company it is, ask employees of that company, what do they experience with that company, what the culture is like, what the pay is like, what the leaders are like. You also want to think about your key experience and skills, your knowledge, all of the things that you want to highlight in the interview. You won't remember everything, and try not to sound rehearsed. But it's good to think about your experience and expect some, you'll be expecting some questions that the interviewers will ask. It's good to, have an answer, or know what you want to talk about, not necessarily how you are going to exactly say it, but, it's good to think about the things, your experience, and some of the things that you want to call out. Um, Prepare what you will wear. I think this one is very important. Maybe it is just for me, but you want to put your best foot forward. And for myself, if I'm comfortable with the way that I look, with the way that my hair looks, then I'll be more comfortable in the interview. I'll be more confident. Now, if you're conscious about how your shirt looks, or your tie looks, how your blouse look, or your hair look, those things can be distracting. So you want to prepare what you want to wear, what you will wear, maybe a night before or early in the morning before the interview, depending on the interview time. Try to also remain um, composed. A lot of times persons let nerves get in the way and they're unable to talk. They're unable to get their points across because they are so nervous, and it shows. A good interviewer normally tries to help, but it would be good to just try to remember that this is your opportunity. And if you let the nerves get in the way, then, it might affect your chances. You want to be confident. I mean, there is a reason why you have gotten the interview, and you want to talk about that those reasons. You want to show your skills. So try to remain composed. Um, what not to do in the interview. So there are things that you should do, and there are things that you shouldn't do. These are some of the things that recruiters will pick up on or take note of in the interview. All right, so you don't want to be late. That's probably the easiest thing. If you are running late, communicate that. That's one of the things that can really mess up your opportunities. Recruiters are typically, understanding. And so if you are running late and you can get the chance to communicate, do so. But try your best, don't be late. Dress appropriately. Appropriately means, you look like you are going to an interview, whether it is a virtual interview or not. Don't wear a big white shirt that you would wear to bed because it's virtual. You still want to look professional. You still want to look like you are going to an interview, and you still want to put your best foot forward. Don't lie or oversell your abilities. Don't falsify information. So don't say that you're good at, for example, Spanish. You're fluent in speaking Spanish because you can say hola or como estás. That's really not it. That I wouldn't even put Spanish on my resume if all I can say is hola or como estás. Also with Excel, like a lot of persons put on their resume that they're excellent with Excel when they probably don't, can open it on the computer and they can probably do a sum, but that doesn't mean that you're great at Excel. Now, can you imagine if you say you're fluent in speaking Spanish and you get the job, and then you go and they ask you to talk to, a customer or another team member, a client, a leader in Spanish, and you can't go further than hola. So don't lie on your resume. Recruiters will pick that up. Don't speak over the interviewers or other candidates. So there are different types of interviews. For example, you can have a one-to-one interview where it's just you and an interviewer, or you can have a setup where it's the candidate and multiple interviewers, or you can have multiple candidates, multiple interviewers. Regardless of what it is, don't speak over the interviewers or the candidates. You want to be respectful, you want to give persons a chance to talk, and you should also wait until it's appropriate to answer. Don't speak negatively about your present or past employers. If you have had negative experience, relate them in a positive way. Talk about what you have learned from the experience. We've all had negative experiences. We've all had something that we can talk about, whether it's at a present company or a past company. You don't want to bash the company that you're with now or was with. Talk about how you've learned, how you grew from this, how you grew, sorry, from this. opportunity. Don't give single answers to questions or ramble as you speak. So if the interviewer asks, were you a customer service representative with X company? Don't just say yes. A good answer would be yes, I was with them for X amount of time and I did X, this duty and that duty. Also, don't be nervous. It really does get into how you present yourself. If you are nervous, again, a good interviewer will try to help to get you to a space where you're not as nervous. um, but it does affect the overall interview if you go in and you're too nervous to speak. What to do in an interview? So there are some very easy things that you can do. Some of the things that are important are show that you have done your research on the company and on the role. um, it is impressive when you go into an interview and you know what the company is about, you know what the history of the company you know what the history of the company is, you know what the role is about. Knowing the role will help you to sell yourself better. So when you go to the interview, show the interviewer that you know the company and you know the role. Be confident and talk about your skills, your experience, and know how to sell yourself. There's nobody that's going to be able to sell themselves better than to sell you better than you can. So you have to know how to talk about your skills. You have to know how to talk about your experience and how it matches what the company is looking for. It is like selling a product, and you would need to know all the different things about that product. It's the same way you have to sell yourself in an interview, and a recruiter will pick up on when you are will pick up on whether you're confident and whether or not you're talking truthfully, or whether you're proud of your experience. Listen and respond appropriately. So if you need time to think, ask for the time. You might get a question that you've never thought about, um, or you might be asked something that you don't understand. Ask for the time to think about it. Most recruiters, or maybe all recruiters, will give you the time, or interviewers will give you the time to think about it. You also want to be mindful of your body language. So not because it's virtual means you're going to slump in your chair, or you're looking all over the place while you're doing an interview. You still want to be present. You still want to show that you're present, and your body language shows that. Respect everyone that is in the interview. So it doesn't matter if there are other candidates in the interview or you're just with the interviewer. You want to respect everyone that is in the interview. All right, so what can you do to make yourself more marketable? So continuously improve on your skills and knowledge. So there are a lot of different sites that you can actually do trainings on, as well as there are local opportunities. I know Heart does a lot of courses, but continuously improve on what you offer as a person. So, there are sites such as Udemy, your Coursera. Also, LinkedIn gives you free courses at times. I mentioned Heart as a local company where you can go to learn different things. I know Heart offers customer service courses. You have, if it is that you want to learn how to use Excel, you can learn that online. You can learn it for free, or some websites offer it at a small charge. You also want to seek out internships. So if you are a recent graduate, look out for the companies, research the companies that offer internships, and go. It's a good way to learn. It's a good way to get your get you into the working world. You also want to volunteer, and volunteer. It there are different companies that you can sign up for, and there are different things that you can do. So, um, if you are interested in, for example, a customer service position, find out, which companies would allow you to be their customer service representative. Because whether or not you are over the phone or not, it's still customer service and it still can be counted. And those are some of the things that, will a recruiter will look for, an interview will look for when they're looking at your resume. So that, I believe, is it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Danica. Very thorough and great presentation. I'm at the point where I don't know what to ask you. But seriously though, I remembered a few years ago when I was considering to work in the sector, and a friend of mine said, did you watch The Wolf of Wall Street? I'm not sure if you know that movie where they come to this
Yes.
great scene about selling the pen. But really and truly, it's about selling yourself and to be
Yes.
likable. So I know, that's one of the traits and one of the qualities that recruiters do look for when, interviewing persons. What I wanted to ask you now is, I know you mentioned don't be nervous, but it's sometimes easier said than done. So my question to you is, do you have any tips for dealing with nerves during an interview?
Sure. So I can talk about some of the things that I do before an interview. I mentioned thinking about the skills or the key experience, the key skills, the key knowledge that I want to mention in the interview. So, say for example, I'm going to interview for the customer service position. What experience do I have? What positive experience can I talk about in the interview? What skills do I have? What knowledge do I have? What courses have I done? Those are things that I can highlight during the interview. And if I think about those things prior to the interview, then it helps to calm me down. I also want to look presentable. It doesn't mean that you have to have on, something expensive, but it means that you are presentable. Your hair is done, your hair is, you're shaved for the men. You look like you are ready to take the job. you know. Um, I also, before the interview, I'll tell myself if the job is mine, I'm gonna get it. If it's not, there's a better opportunity that's coming for me. And those, I think, are the three biggest things I do prior to the interview. Include the fourth one would also be researching the company and researching the role. Because if I know about the company, I can go and talk about the company. If I know about the role, I can sell myself better. I can match my abilities to the role, the duties of the role, and sell myself better. So, Julia, you mentioned something a while ago.
Okay,
You talked about the Wolf of Wall Street
go
and
ahead, go ahead.
selling the pen. Um, it How I started at Vistaprint was something similar. Like I was caught off guard. I was asked midway in the interview to sell something in my bag, and I was just I was just taken aback because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anything in my
Right.
bag I wanted to sell. And when I opened my bag, I saw my daughter at the time was a year old, and I saw her Crocs at the time. And I took it out and I sold it. I didn't even know that it was as beautiful and as purposeful as that day when I was selling it. Have I Did I do sales before? I didn't, but I had to think on my feet and I had to just try my best. And I'm still with Vistaprint. Is it almost 9 years, 10 years?
Okay, great, great. Another question for you. If I have the experience and the education, and other candidates also bring that to the table, what are specific things I can do to stand out?
Okay, all right, that's a very good one. If you have all if you meet all the requirements that a company is asking for, and you know other candidates meet the same thing, a lot of companies are hiring for personality. They are not just looking at what you have on paper, they're also looking at who you are as a person. Are you going to be a good team player? Are you going to be reliable? You know, those are the things. So those are the qualities that you want to highlight when you are in an interview. Show that you're not just your degree or your experience, but you're also, you know, a very great person. You have good characteristics. You know, you have a great personality.
Okay, great. I think we have a question from a viewer.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a course question. I have an IT certification, but it is valid for 3 years at a time. Then you have to renew. Can I put that on my resume as certified or not? I'm having this issue. Currently expired.
Okay. So do you plan to renew it? I have certifications as well in recruiting that have expired. You know, I while I mention it, if I will mention it if I plan to renew it or if I'm in the process of renewing it. Um, so those are the cases that I would mention it. If it is not something that I plan to renew and it is not valid, then I won't state it. But if it is something that I'm in the process of renewing, then I will mention it.
And that makes a lot of sense. I think for a lot of persons who have like licenses and certain certification, there's some time limits on them. So the thing is that you'd either, begin to renew close to the expiration date, as you said, once you have you know that you're going to renew same, then you'll include on your resume.
Right.
You mentioned LinkedIn, and I have a question. I think for most persons on LinkedIn, um, their profile, so they may have their job history, but it is not completed in the sense to list their achievements, what they achieve per job role, or whether, what the job description in that role was. So they have, I was this during the period of time, but there's no information with regards to what they did or what they achieved.
Okay. So you know, for any LinkedIn has an option where you can save the profile as a PDF and it looks somewhat like a resume. So when, for example, if I am recruiting for a role and I am just searching, so these persons haven't applied and I am searching, I'm doing a search on LinkedIn and I come across, say, for example, your resume, sorry, your profile, Jalair. Um, if it just mentions that you are an, you know, just say an account manager with a company, and
Right,
there
right.
is there. Different companies refer to an account manager. So with different companies, sorry, an account manager means different things. So it's always good to put what your duties are. It doesn't have to mean that you're putting all your duties, but put the key ones there. It's good to put them there.
Okay, great. I agree with you. All right. So Danica, one of the things that one of the notion that exists is that recruiters love good storytellers, right? And I know you mentioned, sell yourself, to be able to communicate and all of that, you know, and to be able to link your past roles with what it is that you're applying for, and to show the value that you will bring to the organization, which is very much important in the application process. So I just wanted to cement that, given that we're having this fair, and of course people will be, applying, revising and restructuring their resume to fit that role. I think
Mhm.
there is another question. Is it okay to apply to more than one role at a company?
Okay, it is definitely okay to apply to more than one roles. What is not okay is when you're applying to every role. For example, you're at high school, you have no experience, and there's a managerial position. Don't apply for that position because most likely you are not going to be selected, especially if it's asking, it's clear there that it's asking for certain requirements. Um, no, there is a saying that you fake it until you make it. And that if you don't have the experience, you can learn. But there are some roles that you will need some experience, some training to be able to effectively carry out. So you can apply for different roles, multiple roles. Just apply for the ones that you know are suitable to you. So whether they are the ones that you want to actually do or the ones that you qualify for based on your experience, based on your knowledge, based on your skills, and so forth.
Okay, got you. One of the questions that I asked in our previous session was this whole thing about using the same resume to apply for various jobs. So in this instance, say I am to Vista Print, I'm applying to a project management role, I'm applying to, say, creative director, different roles with the different responsibilities. I mean, I may have had experience in the past. So do I use one resume applying for all those roles, or am I to tailor each resume? So you're getting 3 or 4 different resumes from me.
So I recommend at all times that you tailor the resume. Remember that there will be other candidates who their resumes are tailored or their experience might be just in the creative field. And if you want to stand a chance, you have to be able to call out your experience. You have to mention and highlight your experience, what it is that is going to get you to the interview. So I recommend that you tailor the interview to whatever the job is asking for. So if you're applying for a managerial position, say you're applying for operations manager that we have open at Vistaprint, show the operations experience. If you are applying for the creative director, show your creative director experience.
Okay, great. There's a viewer question.
Okay.
Does
So this
references play a significant part in hiring?
So different companies treat this differently, and it also depends on the role, right? So for like the banking sector, I know they rely heavily on, well, some companies rely heavily on the references. Well, not just banking, but let me say financial sector. Not all companies will ask for references. Some companies do, some companies don't. What you can do is if you don't want to list your references, you can put on your resume that references will be available if asked or something, something of the sort. Um, personally, as a recruiter, you have to advise anyone who's going to put a reference on their resume to let them know, first of all, you want to use persons that actually know your skills, know your abilities, know what you can do, know who you are. So don't just select a JP from your community that your mother knows but doesn't know you, or the pastor who you haven't gone to church in quite a while and they don't remember you and won't know you. Don't use those persons as references. Use persons who, if say for example, I call a reference for Jalair, they can say, yes, Jalair is great at doing this and great at doing that. Jalair is a great person, instead of saying, who is Jalair? So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're using persons who actually know you, and you also want to tell them that you will be using them as a reference. I don't think you have to put references
I agree.
on a resume. I don't have references on my resume. But if they're asked, you should have persons who can talk about you.
Right, I completely agree. It was just, I think, last week I saw somebody posted on Facebook saying the same thing. If you put me down as a reference and do not tell me, then I'm sorry for you.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
that's the case. And I mean, you want to put persons who know your government name. They don't know
Right.
you as Julie or Don Don. They only know who your
Exactly.
name is. So when they get that call, they're able to say, "Oh yes," and provide some good
Yes.
reference. Um,
Exactly.
I think there's another viewer question.
Okay.
Okay, if you are without experience, how should you go about convincing an employer that you're still suitable for the job?
All right. So there are a few perspectives that we can take this from. Now, if you are without experience, um, how should you go about convincing the employer? What job are you applying for? Is it an entry level role, or is it something that is going to require deep experience? If it's an entry level role, you can draw on all the experiences. If so, for example, you're coming from high school, and you're applying for the customer service position at Vistaprint, you don't have any solid experience or any formal experience, but you can think about the things that you have done in high school, the volunteer things that you have done that you can apply. Now, if you are applying for, if you're coming out of high school and you are applying for a managerial position, I wouldn't be able to tell you how to sell yourself for that. If you are a senior recruiter, though, and you are applying for a manager position, say a TA manager position, you can talk about the duties that you have done as a senior recruiter that would make you qualify. So there are different levels that you would have to think about it from. What you want to think about is if the company is hiring, why are they hiring? Because they have a need. There's a job to be done. Can you get that job done? How close are you to getting that job done? How close away are you from that ideal candidate? Or how close to the ideal candidate are you? And if you have experience, whether it is um, formal or not, for entry level positions, you can talk about it. For like a level above where you are now, you can also talk about what you do in your current role. That would be applicable. But if it's far off, then I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay, I think a lot of persons do not recognize that the work that you do in your church youth group or your police youth club, and as you say, project working at schools and voluntary services, contributes as experience,
Yes,
because at the end of the day you're learning some key skills, whether it be teamwork, communication, project management, and all of that. And so therefore, all of that can be included on the resume for
definitely. And
for that level.
definitely, and if you are in clubs at the school too, if you've been like a PO for that club, that's something that you can mention. You don't want to go back
Mhm.
or like you don't want to talk about the fact that you were class rep for or class monitor for grade six at primary school.
One.
But you want to, there are relevant experiences that you can draw from if you are from high school, if you're leaving high school.
Right, great. I think we are out of questions and out of time. So,
Okay.
Danica, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Your presentation was very thorough. I mean, you touched things we never asked you to do, but you know that it was important and relevant. So, we're happy that you
Okay.
did. So, of course, highlighting top qualities that are required, and helping persons to prepare, even though we're having a virtual fair. Persons need to understand understand that, you know, your areas must be tidy, clean, you know, get an area in your house, maybe have a wall,
Yeah.
prepare yourself, be groomed and ready for the interview. So thank you again. We really appreciate it. For those who are watching, if you have not yet registered for our career fair, you need to do so before the end of today, which is 12
Okay.
o'clock tonight. So you need to go on and register. The fair is next week. And we have another session, CV optimization session. I want to say thank you to my team, my communications team, today and Luana, who are behind the scenes for their support and assistance in doing this event. So thank you all and have a good night.
All right. Thank you, Jalir. Thanks for having me.